Welcome back. One last time. This is day number 3, 2? Numbers. They're hard. 1. It is a day of all days, and we're part of it. And that's what makes it special, because I'm here with my very special friends, Scott and Jack. Jack, do you actually do pottery?
No.
Yeah.
well, a long time ago, I did. Yeah,
made an
as
ashtray.
a child. An
ashtray.
An ashtray as a child.
As a child? Probably no.
Okay, listen, you guys. Okay, you're maybe too young, but like
Yes,
people my
I'm
age
very young.
in school when we did pottery, literally the #1 item to make for your parents was an ashtray, which is a little messed up. Oh, come on, chat back me
That
up.
is a little
Wait,
messed up.
Back me up.
That was literally production back
mug.
me up. Someone.
Like everyone
Not
else,
so difficult, though.
Jack
Like
made a
ashtray
mug.
is just like. Just like a prop.
And really, an ashtray is just like a smaller mug, so it's kind of the same thing.
A mug. It's like a little dish.
Yeah. It's
And,
serving. It's serving something. Our teams will be serving too. That's my transition, and I will roll with it. So let's take a look at our Group C bracket. Citrus Nightmare will go up against FluffyDreamland. So, chat, discuss. Who is going to come out on top? Let's find out. Let's talk about those two teams first, though, because, Citrus Nation teamed up with Nightmare. I can't remember when that was. Not super long ago, but I don't know. Sometime then.
Yeah, they're... It's Citrus Nightmare, Citrus
There was a lot going on. So much going on. But they also made some changes to the roster. Actually, they lost, I dare say, 2 of their best players in Lethal and Lep. So DPS and support players are gone. They left for Rock and TSM respectively. Now, Chronic actually joined for Lethal. We've seen him previously with Pirates in Pajamas, which are also dead. So there's that. In stage 1 and 2.
Just skeletons in every closet, you know?
Listen, I'm here for the drama, is what I'm saying. But yeah, that's Citrus Nightmare. How much will it hurt them to not have Lep and Lethal?
Yeah, Lethal is a beast. Lethal is one of the better hit scans, or like one of the DPS, I should say, in the region for sure. It's probably going to hurt them quite a lot. The team, though, ended up coming 4th. And they end up qualifying through. They ended up getting the spot over the Swiss, so they wouldn't have to worry about that. But like stepping up to the plate here, especially after we saw TSM and NRG shock, like it's going to be an upwards hill battle if they make it out of this group. I mean, FluffyDreamland, on the other hand, another team that is. So I feel like you've got a death note for team names right now, just like writing in the book. Okay, team kill, Pirates kill, and They
You can't write FluffyDreamland in the Death Note book. That is, look at the logo. You can't do this to them.
It is.
That's why they did it. They needed that popularity vote. They used to be Fluffy Aimers. It was the same kind of, I don't know what that is. Mascot, the thing, the blob, the white, the floof.
Yeah.
They had the floof, but with like a little gun, looking angry. Yeah, no wings either. And then I don't know. Maybe they just know their audience. They know that we needed whatever they got us.
Logos.
We needed this, and they deliver it. So they're already winning, and that's why the viewer prediction looks the way it looks. Because I have almost 100% certainty this has nothing to do with actual gameplay.
I feel like saying that with 100% certainty is like an insane take from Zoe here. Well, I will say
that's a rough take.
I will say the logo game goes
Chime.
crazy of these two teams.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Chime. Chime has been around contenders for like literally ever and a few days. So I'm very excited to see Chime in this constellation.
Yep.
That's it. That's all I had. Let's go.
A lot of the players on both teams, to be fair, have been around. Like both played in contenders. They some in calling all heroes. Like a lot of tournaments and have been around in the tier 2 scene of NA for quite a while now. FluffyDreamland did end up qualifying through Swiss. They ended up getting 8th place, just behind Arizona State. Time is eternal. Looks like we are going to Citrus Nation's choice here. Scott, it will be Nepal first.
Yeah, Nepal. This is an interesting map because there's so much like variation. I don't really know what to expect from both of these teams. Oh, that's a cool Ash mythic. This was a cool skin.
It was a cool mythic.
Yeah, it's us.
It's us. We're also
less cool. No, less cool.
Less cool. The Ash mythic is pretty sick though. The gun, when you shoot it, it like recoils slightly and it makes weird noises.
Yeah.
W sound design, I will say.
True. Yep. But yeah, as I was saying, like, both of these teams, I don't really know exactly what to expect. Obviously, Citrus Nightmare is a team that, Citrus Nation has a pretty storied history in OWCS. They've always been impressing people for both Stage 1 and Stage 2, finishing 4th at Stage 2. So now they have lost these couple of pieces, are they going to be able to still have that same strength? And then FluffyDreamland, this is a team that's sort of being around the ringer. So both of these teams have a lot to prove. And, we talked about the vacuum that's been happening in the North American region. Can either of these teams capitalize on it?
Yeah, it's going to be, it will always be a tough bracket, even if you make it out. Of course, them kind of fighting now, and I think the audience kind of agreed with us, right? It's going to be a pretty even match. TAP has also been around for a long time. A lot of these players, they're very, old names, you could say. I'm excited to see what their kind of takes on this meta is as well. Are we just going to see the static, Echo Tracer, Diva/Monkey, and then the Kiri with the Lucio, or they're going to bring out something a little bit wacky? Because this is the kind of time to do that too, because if a lot of teams are kind of hard forcing the meta, maybe it's not to their fully strengths, you can just kind of roll over with something that's more comfortable to yourselves. So stepping up into this group stage, obviously all to play for kind of thing. You don't want to be in a position where you're playing that decider match. You want to just win here, just cruise on through, get a 2-0 and then roll into the main event.
Especially because, we talked about, some of the other groups, Group A has Toronto Defiant, the last group had NRG Shock and TSM. They are very strong groups. So if you're either of these teams, this is your best opportunity to really just coast through this and, lock in and sort of give yourself the best opportunity. So it was also yesterday, these were the matches that I think were the most interesting, right? We had a lot of 3-0s that happened in the first day. Yeah, the closest. There was a 3-2 and a 3-1, I believe. So I think there's a lot of cool things that can potentially be shown here, that this might just be a very close group that anyone really can take it. So anything's up in the air.
Yeah, even Shikigami and Vice as well. They've been around the ringer. Here is the Group B bracket. And we just witnessed, of course, NRG Shock making it all the way through. Only dropping a single map there to TSM, which we just saw. And if you only just joined us, by the way, worth checking out the replay for that one. Pretty entertaining game, pretty entertaining series. And TSM now to have to fight it in that decider match against the losers there. And here's the C bracket, which is the one we are in right now. And like you said, Scott, pretty close. Citrus Nightmare going 3-1 versus Vice. FluffyDreamland 3-2 versus Shikigami. And the losers now are Vice and Shikigami fighting tooth and nail to make it to that decider match. But one of these teams will be making it through with a 2-0 record. Question is, which one? The audience thinks FluffyDreamland is going through, but just by a hair, I believe.
Yeah, and beating Shikigami, Shikigami's been another team that's been around OWCS a lot, and they've been sort of vying for those higher positions. But as we have a look at Group D, Nightmare, obviously one of the stronger teams. You can blaze about Seeker a little bit later. I think that's in tomorrow's matches. But also Timeless is in this group. So there's a couple of really strong teams in Group D. That
group was one of the three. The only group that didn't end up after day one being 3-0 was Group C. The Timeless and Nightmare, 3-0, both their games, they're through to the winners, right? And then Team Z and Fries in the Bag in the losers going trying to fight for a spot in that decider. So yeah, this in theory should be a very close group, and we always seem to get that outcome. It's okay, we get all the groups, they're all 6-0s when we just roll on through. It's all good, and then we get the one group that is just all up in the air, and this is the group. And we'll see if Citrus Nightmare or FluffyDreamland can come out on top. It was a 3-1 and a 3-2 respectively. But Citrus Nightmare making it all the way through and not having to fight through Swiss, that's got to feel pretty good for the team. You end up joining a team, you're oh, okay, we don't have to go crazy in the Swiss or anything. We can just kind of get in here, just stake our claim, and then move on forward, because they are going to be the teams as well that are going to be fighting your TSMs, your NRG Shocks for those higher positions, because Toronto probably have first place on lockdown.
Yeah, 100%. I also think it's very worth noting that in this North American region, especially with M80 disbanding, league points matter a lot, right? Getting these points, accruing them, getting to that situation where you can really qualify for that DreamHack Stockholm. That's what a lot of these players are doing. Yes, winning in NA is going to be difficult, so points are going to matter the most.
Yeah, for sure. The point system, especially stretching throughout the year too, there's a real good chance, Citrus Nightmare, the squad, or whatever amalgamation of the squad will eventually make it towards Stockholm, because there's been so many, especially with M80 kind of disbanding at this point, and you mentioned too, this big power vacuum, and there are a lot of players that are kind of floating around and like changing to team names, like changing team names, then forming new ones, and then so those points really do mean a whole bunch moving forward. We are experiencing some sort of small server issue, so hopefully we'll be able to get that sorted for you. We are going to jump to a quick break though. Don't go anywhere. Citrus Nightmare versus Fluffy. I was going to call them Aimers. Used to be Aimers. FluffyDreamland coming up next.
Oh, hello.
Oh, goodbye.
Bye.
What?
We are back, and then we weren't, but now we're here again. It's an emotional roller coaster, really. But we're here for it. We're holding hands. We're getting through. Jack, Scott, we're coming off of an exciting series, and now obviously the next one has to live up to that hype. How closely matched do you consider those two teams?
Well, I think, we were talking about a little bit, like, heading into this match, like, pretty close, right? Like, these are the kind of situations where, like, yes, they are teams that have, like, made some substitutions, all that type of stuff, but I don't think there's a clear favorite in this matchup, and I think you saw that in the chat vote as well, right? Like, everyone really is just sort of, like, curious to see what both of these teams will throw at the wall, and also, the meta's been changing, everything's different, and, yeah, we haven't played OWCS in a little bit, so these teams have a lot to prove, so I'm excited to see what they're going to throw out.
So you actually just talked in the post-game interview with PGE, you talked about, the state of, like, how it feels to play hitscan. Is there anything else you feel that is still in development, or is this just the general consensus is we're playing dive heavy comms, D.Va is here to stay, hitscans, tough luck, try again next time? I don't know. Where are we at? Do you think there is still room to try out other things?
I don't know. I don't think so. There's a patch around the corner too, and it just feels like this is kind of like locked in at this point. And just tanks are so strong this patch. Like, it is crazy with the armor changes and the headshot changes too for the tanks. Like, there's just no way we're seeing anything else. Like, dive heavy, just get in your face, and D.Va especially. Like, oh man, it's like quite literally taking tank, embodying it in the role, and then you just can't kill it ever. It's impossible. Like, it's so tough to take down. You even see it in the Winston matchups, which is normally pretty Winston favored, but like even the Winston struggles sometimes now with the amount of damage that D.Va can do.
Yeah, it's funny how you really sound like a DPS player.
Yeah.
Support player not getting any honor shots in. It feels real good.
I'm a tank player. I'm living my right now. So
tank players this is fun. I don't see the.
Great. I don't see the issue.
I see no problem.
Yeah, but it's like it really is. There was a compounding effect with D.Va, right? Like you had the headshot stuff, you had the armor, just so many things just make her so strong, and that's what makes her so difficult to deal with. Pair that with her ultimate, she could just get the mech back. Anything's possible, and it'll be interesting to see what both of these two teams decide to play as we are finally heading into the match.
Let's go. Yep, we're jumping on into Nepal. Yeah, PG's EMPs were too good. Took out the servers for a moment, but we got them back up and running. We're chilling. Going to Sanctum as well as our first round here. And we'll see the different takes from FluffyDreamland and Citrus Nightmare. Although I wouldn't be too surprised to see a little bit of Sigma. Kind of gives a little sigh of relief there for a lot of the hit scan players, I'd imagine.
Yeah, Sigma is pretty common on this map just because you can go over to the left side, or the right side respectively, go over to the pillar side, and just sort of set up your team. You have the double hit scan coming from Citrus Nightmare. They're going to have so much damage. We saw the exact same thing from Toronto Defiant in our first match of the day. And, Jacob neutral over to this Baptiste Alari, just your backline is just pumping damage.
Yeah, you're doing so much. Even like a lot of shield pressure too with the Alari. It's kind of worth stating. Sigma obviously needs to take space. How does he do that? He moves up with the shield, pretty easy to do so, but if you're just permanently taking damage and taking shots, like, it's real tough. I love this position too from FluffyDreamland's DPS. Chime in heaven of this nice little off angle here. It's just forcing them around. It's like Ash is a flank hero at this point. Look at this positioning.
Yeah, they're trying to...
Good shots.
Great shots.
Oh my word. Haven taking out neutral super easily there. I mean, look at this. The oppression is just ridiculous. FluffyDreamland should be able to count the point pretty easily now.
Oh, Graves gets a little aggressive. Chronic returning in kind. Oh my god, gets both of the flankers at the once. And I was thinking about this earlier. Like, I'm surprised we don't see Grapes on a different type of hero. They're playing the Lucio. Going to be difficult to play. Feels like they're forced them to play aggressive, and that ends up being what is their downfall because they step up a little bit too further, and Chronic getting a couple of picks.
I love when the Ashes do the scope in headshot, then you unscope and quick shot.
Yeah.
The next one, it feels so clean when you get that off. And yeah, Chronic just rolling FluffyDreamland there, who had quite the advantage in terms of map presence as well. And out of Ram pick here, Skull. What do you think of this into the Sigma?
I like the Ram with the Lucio, but so if they didn't want to switch off the Lucio, yeah, I don't mind it. But the question is, like, what does the Ram do here, right? Like, it is just an inferior Sigma. And if the Ramatra is not going to go with the Lucio on the left side here, what is the Ramatra really accomplishing, right? What do we expect the Ramatra to do? So I'm not in love with this pick, unless they can get the pick on the Zeb, but no. It's going to be really hard to dislodge Citrus Nightmare from the left side.
Yeah, this comp just throws out damage like it's nothing. And then you have the Alari too, just on the sidelines, got a very selfish pylon. Oh, hit the wall. Happens to the best of us. All good. Chime is going to pressure the point now with the pulse bomb in hand, but has to back off ever so slightly. Needs to receive a little bit of healing. But that Flux, that's going to end the fight right here. I mean, that Bob, sure. It's got a tank passive, by the way, does Bob, but I'm not sure the rest of your team are going to live to tell another tale. Yeah, Bob now just getting used to farm some ult here for neutral and Jacob.
It was a great Bob by Chronic, really stopping the point from being capped. Allowed them to just withstand the aggression from FluffyDreamland, and now 80% FluffyDreamland. They only have one more fight to be able to get this flip, and Graves with the sound barrier. They're just going to have to force their way into Citrus Nightmare, and Citrus Nightmare are so ready for it.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. Nice rock onto Astro there in the front line. Still holding on to this sound barrier is Grapes. Maybe looking for his cheeky little boop out so the rest of his team can get an angle on somebody, but decides against it as the point is being flipped, and yeah, there you go. Ultimate's being used. FluffyDreamland with the Annihilation to end up just pushing forward and just taking over Citrus Nightmare's front line. And that was the big kind of ultimate that you needed to do that, right? And now you've only got the sound barrier and the pulse bomb. It's going to be hard. I mean, you open this up with a window, maybe even Alari just throws the ultimate in the back line. What have you really got to stop the Alari getting away with murder here?
Yeah, and that really becomes the problem. FluffyDreamland need to hold this choke. They cannot let Citrus Nightmare out. You can see Astro recognizes this, playing aggressive. They have the sound barrier if they do get in trouble. But you can see Citrus Nightmare, they're in no rush. They have the percentage to give. They only need to win one more fight. Drop the window to give them the space, and Dreamland's going to actually disengage, but they cannot give too much space.
Sound barrier comes in as Astro pops that Nemesis form as he tries to move on forward. Tap almost forcing that one out of him, to be very honest with you. Good stick from Tap too, but a better lamp. Here comes the Captive Sun. Did get a hit marker, but where's the follow-up, really? Here's some detonations in the distance. It's actually Chronic following up once again on the Ash. Same angle, too, as he popped off before. Grape's dead, and now FluffyDreamland just running away, wishing they were on Cloud 9 as Citrus Nightmare just shaking them into their core. I mean, FluffyDreamland, they've got this window to use. Sure, a rock from downtown just ends Protra's life. They are still in control of the point, though. I mean, Citrus Nightmare, they've got kill, Scott, but they can't follow this up. And in fact, they've taken too long. And Chime comes back, ends up killing Tap, and now we're in last fight territory for FluffyDreamland.
Yeah, Tap has really been struggling to just move around this map. Feels like they're getting isolated from the rest of the team while they're trying to take space. And all of a sudden, this Ramatra swap has been really good, just choking out Citrus Nightmare. Zeb's sitting on the point, but in comes the Bob to push him off.
Astro's so low, though. Needs immediate medical attention. Bob on the point. Bob on the point. Chronic. Bob getting taken out. Nice work there by Haven, actually. A very heads-up play. That Bob, the other one, would have won that duel for sure.
Oh,
Lloyd does get
through.
flipped. Touch does end up coming through for FluffyDreamland, so they're not out of this just yet as the Flux does land and connects too. Oh dear. There's the backline down for FluffyDreamland. An easy Flux there from Zeb. Everybody from FluffyDreamland, Scott, on different points of the map. Astro and Chime still come up big with 2 kills, however, as the point attempt to be flipped here by Citrus Nightmare.
Yeah, you can see the Ramatra in the form. They just need to live through this great rock to slow Astro down. The only person remaining on this point. They fall.
Eventually brought down, finally. Okay, point flipped again. Citrus Nightmare. Chronic on the Sombra jumps in onto the point just to make it sure they win the round. 100-99. Citrus Nightmare and FluffyDreamland. My word, this couldn't be any closer to start us off with.
Very back and forth first round. Let's see what the teams adjust to. We said Sanctum is a very different type of point as we head over here to Village. It'll be interesting because you want to play a faster comp. So FluffyDreamland, they can play the Ramatra, they can play the Lucio, it works in, but how does Citrus Nightmare respond? They have to expect this. Now Zeb's on the Orisa. I would be surprised if that's actually what they came out on, though.
Saw a little bit of Orisa earlier.
Yeah, but
yeah, on this
that
map,
was Toronto Defiant where they were up by a long way.
Well, they're going to play it.
Wow.
Orisa into the Ram. Yeah, I mean, how does this end up matching it? Wow, Astro almost instantly died.
Does hold on to the form. Zeb's also taking just a lot of damage. Doesn't want to use the cooldowns because of how long they really are.
Especially Orisa is pretty good at like locking down this point. You kind of have to walk into her.
But like
Spears can be quite effective. A lot of backboard to throw them in.
Surely Ramatra is just a better pick in that idea, or like I don't know. It just feels like Orisa can be very exploitable in certain situations. As Astra's going to take down Chronic.
Ooh. Just try and get out. Wow, the movement there from Chime, looking real good. Grapes to the rescue too. Looks like Chime and Grapes are trying to team up right now, and there you go. Zeb's dead. Yeah, without those cooldowns, Scott. I mean, you spoke about it earlier too, right? You said, you know, how Orisa of old was like, okay, how many seconds between each cooldown? It was like 1. But now after the big nerf of Orisa, even after the tank buffs with the armor, etc., and the headshot stuff, it doesn't really match up to the Ram here in the 1v1 at least.
Yeah, wait. They don't know?
No, Chronic's still on. If Chronic had a Bob, that would go crazy.
That would be so funny.
He's got like a white skin as well. Actually, like blending into the terrain. Hang on a second. Wait, new meta just dropped. You have to wear the what's that? The Atlanta Rain version of.
Was that the away
skin?
The away Atlanta Rain.
That went crazy. They didn't spot him. If he was wearing the mythic, he wouldn't have got away with that.
Yeah, that's true. Oh my god, Chronic gets Haven. Great shots. And all of a sudden, Citrus Nightmare finding picks. She's able to walk out the choke. No able to get a response from Astro. And Astro will eventually fall and the flip will come through.
All right, there you go. 58%. Only percent FluffyDreamland are going to get for now, at the least. I mean, Citrus Nightmare, whole stack of ults, though. They got 5. They're ready to rock and roll.
And now it's going to get difficult for FluffyDreamland, right? Where do you go? Do you try and come out this top right? You're walking into a choke. Walking into the Kitsune Rush. It looks like they are going to try and go out this way. Are Citrus Nightmare prepared and in the right position? They're actually going to give a lot of space.
Right, spear spin away, that window just securing the high ground, and now Haven off an off angle, maybe even wants to deploy the bomb here if they notices people jumping down for low ground. Grapes, unfortunately, smashed into the ground, but here comes the Annihilation. More of a desperation one, look at that. Has to back all the way up, crossing the arms, and that Annihilation gets absolutely nothing done. As Haven was on that flank, but, I mean, that's unfortunate. Not even using the bulb there, maybe didn't want to throw it out, knew the fight was already lost. As FluffyDreamland do end up losing the point again, but at least they stop Citrus Nightmare from gaining too much percent. They actually managed to find the flip randomly in the middle of the fight.
Yeah, not a bad play by Citrus Nightmare. Didn't have to use too many ultimates either, so back firmly in control. And now they hold on to the Bob. They can just wait for whatever choke that FluffyDreamland's going to come out. They're going to do the exact same play, have the Tracer go through main, the rest of the team come out the top left.
Sound barrier for both teams as well. I want to see how these Bobs are going to... Normally to kind of force the point on control, right? Looks like Chronic's going a little bit more aggressive. Oh, both Bobs. One on the high ground, one on the low ground. Oh, just... Okay, they're in a 1v1. An honourable 1v1. Looks like Chronic's won in the very end.
Big wins.
Big win.
Oh, no, mind, Chronix is dead as well.
Oh, well, all good. Grapes took that one out. Final fight. Encroaching now for Citrus Nightmare. 80% on board. Point was being forced for a little bit there, but... Look at FluffyDreamland. They're using so many abilities to try and take height, and Citrus Nightmare are accepting that. They're just peeling back ever so slightly, and then just springboarding back in. Chronic just demolishing FluffyDreamland on the high ground here, and that should be round and map. Absolutely no way Astro's at least going to get back. Maybe there's a touch, like Chime gets in, but no, not today. Citrus Nightmare, a very, very good and much more clean. Whoa, I'm in 2 different screens. Much more clean round in round number 2.
Yeah, 100%. And it's one of those things that I feel like we saw so much value from Chronic on the Ashe. As soon as they were given the freedom to be able to take that space, hit those shots, the Orisa actually worked really well. I wasn't a believer. I won't lie, I wasn't a believer of the Zeb Orisa, but you really understand the value that they were looking to do. It just allowed them to play really aggressive and just sort of punish the opposition, hitting a lot of really good spears. And that will be Citrus Nightmare really just sort of stepping up early with some big hit-scan heroics from Chronic.
Yeah, just kind of lights out on the Ashe. Just real good. You load in, you're like, no Diva, no Winston. We just play calm, cool, collected Overwatch, where we use our abilities, we push forward to an angle, and then we stop, and we wait, and I kill people. Feels pretty good.
The question I have is, it feels like Grapes really wants to play the Lucio, and that's how they want to play. They want to play the Ramattra and the Lucio. So then, if you're FluffyDreamland, what direction do you take the maps, right? Do you want to go to Flashpoint? Do you want to play these type of maps? Because all of a sudden, you don't want to be going towards these escort or these hybrid maps, because that's going to really enable Chronic and the slower style that it seems like Citrus Nightmare are willing to play.
Yeah, I can't imagine we're going to see Orisa again, but the way they played this map specifically was so nice. They played on the little square on the high ground, and as the Ram, you're like, okay, put up shield, walk forwards, pop Nemesis form, walk forward some more, try and like push around these really tight corridors, but Orisa just stands there, spears you into the wall, or just spear spins, and then your entire team behind you is just shooting through you and just demolishing the Ram. It's really well played by Citrus Nightmare on that final round. A lot more one-sided than that first one, which was 100 to 99. Is the Group C bracket once again. Of course, Citrus Nightmare making it this far by beating Vice 3-1. That was yesterday. FluffyDreamland as well, beating Shikigami 3-2. So a pretty close group overall. I mean, yeah, maybe you're right, Scott. Grapes, Lucio, run to a Flashpoint map. Maybe even a push here. Saw Runaasapi a little bit earlier on today as well.
Yeah, Runaasapi, is a very big map as well. So Lucio definitely can work on Runaasapi in comparison, like a lot of distance to close, it feels like. So I could see them going in those types of directions because it didn't feel like they were as comfortable when we first saw them play like the Sigma, Lucio. I felt like they were a little disjointed. So maybe they go towards something like that, but it's so early on, it's really difficult to really tell what the best thing. The only thing I can say so far, we saw it in the PGE matchup, right? Chronic was able to get that Ashe value. Maybe they need to play faster, right? If you go with the DV, you go with the Echo, just go faster, force the hit scan to feel like they can't play the comfort pick, and that'll force the opposition to do something different.
Yeah, it kind of feels bad to fall back to like a Cassidy, because Cassidy's just not as strong as he used to be. Like, he was a warlord before, but not so much anymore. Go to Paraiso instead, though.
Interesting.
Okay, hybrid map here for FluffyDreamland.
I really like the idea here. Paraiso, it feels like, isn't a super popular map. Like, not a lot of teams pick Paraiso, mainly because it's a very difficult map to play, just because the second point and the first point to a certain degree is just very high ground focused and very high ground centric. So it actually goes against the idea that I had for FluffyDreamland of, this is going to play into the hit scan. We know how many defensive high grounds there are for Ashe, but Lucio isn't going to get that much value, so maybe FluffyDreamland have something else in their toolkit that we haven't seen just yet.
Alright, let's load on in. Map number 2. We're in day 2 in NA OWCS. It is good to be back. That is for sure. Feels like home again. I don't want to get too sentimental on you, but so we won't. FluffyDreamland on the offense. Yeah, this is what I want to see. A little bit more dive here. Go quick. We'll see if Haven can find a cheeky little kill first, though. Yep. Then no one is holding that high ground.
And both teams going in a different direction, right? Arna Brig not playing fast. They're playing the Winston. Interesting difference, though. Neither side is playing a Tracer. They're both playing the Echo Ashe, which is very uncommon throughout just like the history of Overwatch. Usually you'd always want to put a Tracer in a dive with a Winston.
Yeah, but on this map specifically, Scott, like, maybe the Ashe kind of ends up working out here. If you can get control of the high grounds, you're unkillable. Like, it's really tough, especially when you've got Arna Brig right next to you as well. You just kind of rely on the Winston and the Echo to dive in together. Pretty early bubble there from Astro. Too early, in fact. Yeah, no bubble to use on the high ground. Jacob Astro ends up trading there. A couple of sticky bombs from Chime thrown on top of Astro. And it's actually Chime that comes up big with 2 kills. Echo so deadly in these matchups. I mean, Echo's always been really powerful, but it feels like in this meta, at the very least, like, unbelievable.
Yeah, 100%. It's also just like being able to play with the Winston. Like, you're able to like hit the big sticky bombs, get on the high ground. And I understand the idea of the Echo with just like the high ceilings and your ability to play around that. While Tracer can be difficult to route around, as we're seeing Citrus Nightmare is going to recontest. Ashe is kind of in an awkward spot, but you can see on the right side of your screen, Astro is just gatekeeping the opposition. Does take down both backliners. Isn't enough.
I mean, Zeb has to run for the hills. They should be able to get this one. I think Zeb realizes that as well. Yeah, all good. All good. 5 minutes to go. Okay, FluffyDreamland with a nice execution on first point. Even Tap coming up with 2 kills. Just getting those trades. You're losing your supports. There's just no way. You might as well have a better setup for this next point, because attacking this point, what layer of like Dante's and felt like layers of hell are we in? it is so hard to like assault, you know, from the low ground to the high ground, like.
And the reason is, why it's so difficult is that spot exactly that you can see Chronic on, right? He's able to sit on that back high ground, have very protected position, and then just shoot down the long range. And that enables you to shoot. You can see Chronic gets that pick onto Haven, is able to follow up Zeb from as far away as they are to just be able to set it up. And you can see Astra is trying to pop the Primal to get some form of space, but it just doesn't come up with anything.
Oh.
Chime gets neutral.
Wow, Chime gets... Yeah, that's a bad pick if you are Citrus Nightmare right now. You have got 4 ultimates, and you got the dupe. You could dupe the Ana, you know. You could have the Ana again, but they're going to have to play a little bit more defensive now. Neutral quickly swapped to the Moira there. I don't know if you quickly saw it, just to get a bit of spawn, like one straight forward, switch to Ana, so you get back ASAP. The spawn tech for you. A lot of players have been doing that, especially if you've not got an ult.
Yeah, like if you don't have the ultimates, then why? You save the optimization, get the 1 second faster. Winston goes over the high ground on the back of a good nade. Oh my god, huge break flash.
Brick moment. That's like old brick, two bricks looking at each other. All right, fight's done. All right, wrap it up. Yeah. That was ridiculous. I don't think Zeb or Tap had a chance to press Q, even if they wanted to. That was the quickest fight I've ever seen.
I'm really surprised Citrus Nightmares decided to force the issue in that room, and now the Cap's getting close. Are they going to get the touch? Oh, nice boot.
Nice flail. And nice coach, yeah. Double knockback. Even pop the primal. That feels pretty bad if you're Zeb there. And you can't get the kill.
Doesn't even get a kill.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
FluffyDreamland looking very comfortable right now on this
I guess
setup.
you trade Chime's dupe though, so maybe not worst, but yeah, you can see why FluffyDreamland wanted to come this way, Scott. 4 minutes going into last is kind of nasty.
Yeah, actually ridiculous.
Good dynamite.
Big nade.
Oh, big nade! Nade into the dynamite. Nothing better than that. I mean, that's this whole high ground taken now. Wow.
Just pure textbook as well. So now all of a sudden you can see FluffyDreamland. They're in a perfect position. Tap is gonna go for a flank. Potentially can
I love this.
execute.
Dupe on the honor? Oh, well, echo moment.
Oh
You
my
just couldn't
God.
hear the echo. That was ridiculous.
That was so much damage.
Just an awful day to be a backliner.
Oh, interesting nano from neutral. That was definitely one fight here for Citrus Nightmare, but they're going to pop the nano boost so late in the fight. Maybe afraid that Zeb was going to fall, so wanted to keep him alive?
Potentially. No extra damage there with the right clicks. Now we're trying to set up. At least they've reclaimed some of this space. Looks like Zeb wants to go in again, waiting for the nade. Waiting patiently. He is in.
Doesn't have primal, so he doesn't have an
nades,
exit strategy.
Yeah, 0 exit strategy. Okay. He's dead. That is not good, I would say, in my professional opinion. Shime does take out Tap as well. Okay, Citrus Nightmare not in a good spot right now, especially with Astro using that Primal Rage, just separating the team. A rally being used, a pretty low health there from Jacob. It's actually bashed up against the wall. A little bit of over health there granted as neutral for only, what, 2 frames or so. He's pretty low too, and speaking of rallies, double stun, straight on top 2. Can they get him in the spawn doors? I don't think so. I mean, maybe Jacob ends up going down, but the payload, oh, it's certainly going in. There we go. FluffyDreamland with a very aggressive rally there into the spawn. Yeah, taking the payload all the way and finish with time. 2 minutes and 20 seconds on Paraiso is ridiculous.
That was a really good push there from FluffyDreamland. Like, just, it felt like everything was going at the right. They were getting position. All of a sudden, we see Astro taking great space, getting in the face, and there's nothing Citrus Nightmare can do. The backline is just getting blown up based on some good coordination of, like, anti-nades with dynamite. You love to see that, and now FluffyDreamland showing that, hey, we didn't need to play Lucio. We're happy to, you know, mix things up, play the dive, and currently looking dramatically better at it than Citrus Nightmare.
I mean, Zeb also kind of overstepping quite considerably.
Yeah.
Jumping over to high ground, like you said, no exit strategy with the Primal Rage, like, real tough situation to be in. Oh, was this the Bionade? I think it was.
Nade into
Look at this, the nade. Look at the nade and dynamite following each other. Explodes, hits everybody, and the sticky bombs on top. Like, clinical. If you were writing a book, perhaps, on like perfect setups for like heroes, that would be like the JPEG, you know, the screenshot. It's a book. I mean, like the picture in the book, the black and white.
So it's a picture book.
It's a picture book, Scott. How to
so
play
it's a
Overwatch.
picture book. Okay.
Yeah.
How to play Overwatch for Dummies.
Yeah,
authored by Jaws Cast.
Throw dynamite and throw nade on the same spot. Equal win.
Dude, Jake's masterclass has got to watch out. There's a new big boy in town.
there's a new teacher on the block. Oh, I like that. Nice double widow
again,
there, just to find something. But
so now we'll see both teams on the Tracer now. Echo, Ash on attack. So FluffyDreamland deciding not to play the Ash on defense, which is interesting. You feel like it would be the other way around. But let's see what Haven can do on the Tracer.
Oh, well. I mean, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Chronic doing Chronic things, apparently. Little reset, I think. Ooh. Tap is just a
Haven got him, though.
Too. Neutral does end up going down just in a small 1v1. Tap does end up winning it. My word, Tap and Zeb there cleaning up the fight. Real nice. Should be able to get 2 ticks too. Couple of stragglers coming in for FluffyDreamland. Oh, they don't end up getting the second tick. That kind of sucks. Yep, Astro's back. They're like, what? That's 1% away from getting that next tick. Just need to tap the point. Just briefly tap the point. Oh, they lost it. Yep, it's regressing now in progress.
And that's a lot of respect that we've seen Citrus Nightmare place up. They just decided to not fight for that, but maybe setting up the dive that we just saw. Tap gets both backliners, but Chime's going to return in kind.
Do one of these echoes. Chime kills 3, double sticky bomb kill straight into the focusing beam. Zeb going up into the high ground and sliding away. Chime 1 HP. They still should be able to get a lot of progress on the point, but Chime with Zeb with no primal was 4% away when he ended up going down.
All right, now we wait as we have FluffyDreamland coming back.
This is
able to hold in just like a ridiculous way. You can see, obviously Chime is the person who ends up getting all of the kills, but that's just a great synergistic dive from FluffyDreamland. Astro goes in, Chime follows up, Haven's there as well. You can see Chronix is really running into the issue we saw from PG, just unable to get any space against this Winston Echo.
Good tracking there by Tap. You can see just constant pressure on the back line. Knows he's no longer welcome as Zeb and Jacob end up going down. So slowly but surely. FluffyDreamland, you can see why they wanted to go to this map. 5 ultimates coming up too. I mean, this defense. We're looking at a full hold. Yeah, I think.
It's a good pick here from Chronic. Should give them a little bit of space. Getting some points, but once again, Astro going aggressive. Pulse Bomb goes wide from Haven. Unable to find either of the supports.
Okay, they do end up going back to the point. 95% extra tick as well. Primal Rage used. Can't let anybody from Citrus Nightmare currently touch the point. In fact, they're not going to, as they pop that Echo duplication as well. Prime Rage from Zeb, just unable to secure that kill. Heals coming out from Grapes, looking stellar. Eventually deploys the nano at the very last second. A little parting gift. Zeb cleaning up too. Is this going to be it? Finally taking this first point. I mean, 50 seconds to go. And Zeb, without much hope here, needs some desperate heals. But look at this. Astro is just separating the backline for the rest of the team. Tap is on the point once again, just trying to focus out Astro at this point. And with Haven down, this should be it, surely.
Surely. Astro gets 2. He gets both supports, but just not enough. Does a phenomenal job.
That was an unbelievable hold. I mean, again, rather scrappy, but just Tap coming up big with these kills. Tap's dives with Zeb have been really nice over the last couple of fights. Just isolating the backline, pushing them out of the window too, so they can't actually look at the rest of their team on the point. Really well played.
Yeah, 100%. And now we're going to see Citrus Nightmare. Didn't have to cost them too many ultimates. Tap has the Pulse Bomb coming up to the duplication as well. Seasons. Just trying to posture for position into this room. One of the big mistakes we saw Citrus Nightmare make was actually they gave up this room and then tried to fight for it again. Let's see if FluffyDreamland are able to hold on to it.
Pulse Bomb, Haven was searching for a target. Look, potentially wants to go for the Echo. Tap with a kill in your kill feed, but look, Haven and Astro trying to settle the score. They end up finding 2 there from Tap, but Astro only killing Jacob, so net positive here for Citrus Nightmare.
It feels like Citrus Nightmare are trying to go so aggressive that their backline just isn't able to stay alive. You know what I mean? It feels like FluffyDreamland, they're going in, they're getting aggressive, and they're able to trade effectively. But now, all of a sudden, Citrus Nightmare in a good spot. Big Purple does slow things down a little bit, and Chronic falls.
His Prime Rage is good too. Can Zeb separate Grapes? That is the question. I mean, Astro's now back. Zeb ends up getting antied, has to run away, gets nanoed. Oh, he's going to go back in again. Nano on the break, though. Yeah, you don't want to mess with that. Instantly deciding against it. Ends up just paying attention to the front line. Even though his Flare was doing a lot of damage with the nano. Chronic now on Widowmaker, of all things.
I mean, difficult to play Widow. This is definitely a huge gamble here for Chronic.
He needs hit headshots right now. You need to find initial picks, otherwise you're just going to get run over. Yeah, Rally, there's absolutely no chance for the Widow anymore. I mean, duplication from FluffyDreamland. 1 minute to go.
And you can see how scared Chronic has to play. It's so difficult to play Widow here because to get effective sightlines, you have to expose yourself. So you can see the rest of the team, Citrus Nightmare, trying to move Chronic around to get him into a position that they can find a pick. But with 43 seconds remaining, that window is closing for them to find the pick, and they're down.
Yeah. Chronic goes down, nice little anti-nade, and the angle very aggressively taken there on the left side of that high ground. Primarage has been also ripped by Astro. These fights are so messy, Scott. But it's all FluffyDreamland right now. Backline dead, no rally. I mean, good luck even getting back with a rally at this point. I mean, Zeb's going to get chased out, instantly taken down by Astro. I mean, who touches here? I mean, maybe Tap, but look at Haven, just in the spawn. I mean, you can do that too. You know they have to walk past you to try and get to the point. 7 seconds, and someone has to touch. A duplication onto the break, try and get some flail aways, and there is the touch eventually made by Haven, who has got the pulse bomb available to him. With a duplication onto the break, maybe they even get rally here. A giant Byronade to the go symbol. They got to get in. Chronic down, Jacob to follow. Yes, Neutral running for the hills. Has got the overhealth, but hasn't got hope in hell, unfortunately, of closing this one out, even with the nano coming up. Unless some sort of miracle happens, Haven gets booped away. That pulse bomb might have connected, but it looked like Zeb made sure it didn't. And there is the map. FluffyDreamland on their map pick come up with the win.
Looking very comfortable on this Winston dive as well. They're just very in sync. They were by far and away the better team on this map playing that composition. And now all of a sudden we start to get in, the map pool really starts to matter, because what maps are you going to choose? Where is your strength? Because right now it doesn't feel like Citrus Nightmare are able to hang with the Winston setup, because Chronic isn't able to find that space to be able to shoot. Just too much pressure coming out from the Echo. The dives are too clean from FluffyDreamland, and yeah, that's a pretty convincing Paraiso.
Yeah, I mean, where does Citrus Nation go? It does feel like NRG Shock TSM again. It
does.
Where, like, Chronic needs the space to play the Ashe, or maybe even play the Widow, right? Maybe needs to jump to Sombra, do what PGE did after he hits tab and sees 22 deaths on his screen.
Yeah, fair.
Where do you go if you're Citrus Nation? Again, it does feel like now the hybrid's been taken out, you haven't got your choice to go to something like... Well, I guess you could choose Dorado would be another good pick here, actually, thinking about it. But you've not got your chance to go to Eichenwald or anything like that, a map that you'd probably do pretty well on if you can have Chronic on the Ashe.
Yeah, and that really comes in, is like, it feels like they really want to play Chronic in the Ashe. I feel like he's been a hit scan throughout this entirety of the series, so how do we find a situation to just get Chronic to be able to have space? We talked about this, as you said, this is a mirror for what we just did in NRG versus TSM. So I think the same rules that we followed for the last series follow here, because right now, you're just looking at these highlights. Look at the coordination of this dive. The Dynamite into the nade with the Winston and the Echo thing. The coordination that we're seeing from this FluffyDreamland squad is insane. And if they can keep this up, all of a sudden, how do you live as the backline, as Jacob mid neutral? And what adjustments can you make? Chronic did play some of the Echo themselves in this map, but it just didn't feel like it had the same level of power and the same level of impact that we saw from Chime.
Yeah, because you don't want to go to Flashpoint. So you pick Escort, you pick Dorado. That's where I
think that makes sense. That really makes sense in my eyes. Of like, I think that gives you the most option, because like, you don't want to choose Flashpoint. Flashpoint, as much as New Junk City and Survasa are slightly different, they play the exact same way, right? So that map choice doesn't really have too much impact. And Push, you know, we saw how Push can be impacted. So I think you definitely want to choose the Escort map that best suits you in this moment. So I agree, going to Dorado here would make a lot of sense.
Or any of the Escort maps. I mean, in the pool right now, Circuit Royale, Dorado, Junkertown, Shambali, they are all decent hit scan maps. Runaasapi actually might be a good one too.
There's options. There's a lot of options. But also, remember, after just map 1, we were sort of saying, like, hey, maybe FluffyDreamland don't have this in their tools. Right. Maybe we need to see the same thing from Citrus Nation. Maybe there's something that they haven't shown us yet, or just a composition that they didn't want to play on Paraiso, because, as we talked about, Paraiso is a very random map to be chosen. It's one of those maps that, since it's come into the map pool, not a lot of people feels like they practice it, or no one picks it because they're not confident. So maybe just a sick play by FluffyDreamland. There's always been those teams that have scrimmed in the history where they play the maps that no one else wants to play. So then when they pick it, all of a sudden, no one knows really how to play. And it did feel like that for Citrus Nightmare. It didn't feel like they had a great idea of how they wanted to play the map.
Well, we're going to Escort, by the looks of it. The little graphic down there shows me a little Escort logo. So, yeah, it's got to be Dorado.
It has to. Jack's decided. I don't even want to see the graphic.
Adorado. Because there's no way you ping a Junkertown, right? I feel like even with new Junkertown, I still don't know how I feel about that map. Because as soon as you get into second and third, it's like, meh.
Ooh,
I mean,
like
okay, this makes a lot more sense too, right? Go on Circuit, get on Widow, and then talk to Ash if you really want to, but probably Widow.
It's just very difficult to play the Winston on Circuit Royale. That's the one thing that's like absolutely true. We see historically a lot of double flex support, a lot of Sigma, just slowing it down due to the very long sight lines that you can see on Circuit Royale. So I like this pick. I also think Echo can be very difficult because there's not a lot of vertical cover that you can play off, as we said, long sight lines. So I like this pick by Citrus NTMR. I think it gives them the best opportunity if they're willing and comfortable to play a Circuit Royale comp with the double flex support.
Double flex, maybe a little Zen, maybe a little Valari with the BAP. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm excited to see some Escort today as we jump on in. FluffyDreamland versus Citrus NTMR. Currently 1 apiece. That control pretty close. That first round went to 99 to 100. Then it was Citrus NTMR kind of like rolling out. With the Orisa, it felt really good. Definitely not a garage you can pick on this map, that's for sure. Well, you could when she was like hard busted, but not so much anymore. See what FluffyDreamland have in their back pocket, because you got to know Chronic's just going to be hard flexing on the hit scan. But it looks like a Ram. Wow. So they want to just hold close here. So Ram, Hanzo, just want to spam, wall people off.
I like this look a lot by Citrus NTMR. I think it makes sense, especially knowing FluffyDreamland. They didn't play double flex support on the Sanctum, so you can expect it. One thing I did want to talk to you about, Jack. How do you feel about the Zenyatta over the Illari? We've seen it go back and forth. Do you think the Illari is better or the Zenyatta is better?
Zen.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Discord is just super important. So your ability to play safe on this map. Also, I think Transcendence is just infinitely better than
100%
than Illari Ultimate.
Yeah, you have a defensive. Imagine having a defensive ultimate in the video game Overwatch.
Pretty good.
It's pretty decent. Yeah. I do. Yeah. This Widow pick is going to be. Oh my word. Okay, Chime dancing with death there.
Chime's in a weird spot here as well. Worth noting.
They need to get Chime out.
Yeah.
This spot.
They need to fight for this as well, and that's what they've done. The rest of the team rotated around. Chime takes down neutral, but losing your Baptiste is going to hurt here because that's a big source of your healing. And the Mei, dude, Chronic is coming alive. You give this guy space, it's over.
Yeah, very much so. Go on, style on him. Oh, yeah, Stick Bomb should kill him.
Cool guys don't get explosions.
Exactly. I hate when Echoes do that. They know they've killed me, they just zip off. I'm like, man.
At least look at me.
Please look at me when I die, bro, please. And this is going to be the hardest challenge now for FluffyDreamland. Like, closing on the space is really easy with the Lucio, but Chronic has such a mean angle. Actually getting over that first hurdle is going to be so tough. If he clicks one head here, this might just be the first point.
Yeah, 100%.
Hunter's going to do a good job of kind of suppressing them a little bit, though.
I also think you're going to see FluffyDreamland do this setup, almost just contesting the cart from far away. Force the Citrus NTMR to swing wider to be able to get value. You can see how bold Neutral's willing to get on the Zenyatta, really get up close and personal because it knows they don't want to run out.
I saw it. Haven hit the Sonic Arrow on the corner, knew where the Widow was, going to go for the shot. Zeb at least down though, but Tap is going to activate duplication, going to jump over to the Rat. Montro's going to have to play a little bit safe here, playing super far in the front line. That Annihilation is just going to rip and tear him apart. Easy does it with the duplication. Don't need Chronic to hit heads if Tap can just earn a free ultimate with a Ram, and there's first point. And it's only going to get worse from here as well.
100%, 100%. And it's one of those things that as the damage comes in, it's kind of hard to, save yourself because as soon as it starts snowballing away from you, there's just too much damage, especially Astro. There is so much damage going on to Astro. They have the Discord, they have the damage from the Baptiste, and the Widow shots. If Chronic is just hitting shots, all of a sudden FluffyDreamland, the window in which they have to be able to step up and find picks is just so low.
Yeah, Chronic doesn't really want to test him, although, to be fair, one-shotting someone through that would be pretty nice.
Another one.
Another kill. Haven dodging out of the way of that Flux. Soundbearer came in anyway just to try and save him. Chronic eventually taken down. Headshot from Chime from across the map. Well, not from across the map, it's actually right on top of him. Chime managed to find a nice little flank there. Now he's in a whole heap of hurt. Does need some serious attention, but no, is that focusing beam that takes him out eventually. FluffyDreamland still coming up with kills. These fights are really scrappy, but Chronic will be back in just a moment. But look at where you're kind of trapped if you're FluffyDreamland. You've made a very aggressive play, but Zeb's just going to be able to split the entire team.
Ooh, that was
Haven
close.
surely goes down. No, hits the wall climb. Actually gets booped away by the Lucio. So they've eventually managed to regain control, make sure Chime and Astro can come back. They've decided no more Ramatra, going straight on to the Sigma.
I like this change. You could see Astro really struggling on the Ramatra. Feels like they were just having to rush forward time and time again, and they're just kind of at the mercy of what Citrus Nightmare do. They're going to engage with the Dragon and take out Zeb. Perfect.
Yeah, with the Ram too, Scott, like, because you're wanting to run at people, it's like, well, it's an easy Discord target, and we can all just shoot at you and you instantly evaporate.
Yeah. That's like a really good point to note as well. Just Sigma's hands give them so much opportunity. With the shield, they can juggle so much of the damage that's coming out. So,
what is
the
this?
value?
Double flex now. Neutral jumping over to the Kiriko. I mean, maybe they're thinking right now that Chime has got Blizzard. Of course, we know that, right? And he hasn't used Blizzard ever, so he needs to actually get that done. Suzu here for the Blizzard targets. That's a pretty heads-up play, knowing Zen's probably not going to save you. Chime, I mean, come on. Oh, they're all gone. Chronic is in trouble. Oh, there's solo Blizzard on the... There's no way.
Rude.
And he still gets him. And he still gets him. Lamp, the cleanse. That is... Come on. You really have to do him like that.
Hey, sometimes you got to find the alpha threat, and that's Chronic right now on the Widowmaker. Tap has duplicated into the Sigma. We will get a Flux off, but won't be able to actually send it. Zeb's going to send the Flux of their own.
Oh, what a shot.
But Chime's a real big problem on this Mei right now.
Okay, Chime making it work. The Mei on Circuit Royale, when you have a Sigma, who'd have thought?
Ow.
This is a really tough point to take. Like, there's a minute and 20 seconds to go. There's not been a clean and concise team fight in quite some time.
And this actually goes back into the opposite end of the Widow spectrum. Chronic is just not able to find enough kills. Zeb does get a great rock through the window onto Haven.
Rock to follow up. They have to go the Lamp. The Lamp is just doing so much work right now for Citrus Nightmare. Chronic to, I mean, Citrus Nightmare. Okay, they only need Chronic to quickly turn up in the fight. Takes down the back line, and there it is. They eventually get it going again. There's only a minute to play with. Haven's going to jump over to the Sim to try and TP everybody forward to get a final touch.
They really want this. They have the Grape Sound Barrier to get them into this fight as well. There's definitely an opportunity, but they're running into the Kitsune Rush.
Chime with the wall. They do manage to isolate Zeb for a brief moment. Drops the hands to try and get out of there. Sound barrier very aggressive there from FluffyDreamland, but now they have to try and deal with Chronic on a nice little angle too, but the Lucio a little bit too quick for him.
Well, he needs to hit this shot.
My word, yeah. Missed it. Has to grapple away. Has got a lot of space to work with now, but not a lot of time. And, yeah, not a lot of health either by the looks of it. Chime with another long-range Icicle kill. Chime has really stepped up for FluffyDreamland right now, and they've got a Blizzard. 3% towards it. I mean, with only 10 seconds to go, Citrus Nightmare and Chronic needs to find, like, a 50-cal, 5-man Kalat to try and finish this one. Oh, Jacob. Ooh, spinning into a new dimension there. Maybe going for a slot of the Olympics, I'm not sure. Jacob ends up going down. There's no more to touch. And the payload will be halted. This Mei is doing unbelievable amounts of work.
Yeah, Chime's doing a phenomenal job on this Mei. We talked about how the difficulty of like dealing with the Widow, but Chime's playing like a flanking Mei that's really difficult for the way that Citrus Nightmare is playing to deal with. And you know, we saw it at the very beginning, and we were like, oh, they need to save Chime on the left, but that's kind of how FluffyDreamland's intending to play this composition. They want to put the Mei on an isolated island alone. They can stay alive for a very long time. And if Citrus Nightmare commit resources to try and deal with Chime, all of a sudden the rest of the team is able to step up, able to punish. So I like the way that this team is pushing and pulling with each other.
Chime, you got to do this again. Come on. Play the Mei. You know you want to. Maybe just a Hanzo just to get a quick scouting arrow.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at the defense. So, kind of what we kind of expect on this map, especially with Chronic on the board, on the Widow. And this is I was curious how FluffyDreamland, after seeing them come through with the Ram, how they were going to deal with this this defense from Citrus Nightmare, because now they're in their home territory, realistically. They have Chronic sitting all the way at the back. They have to peek him to get the sightlines. Haven looking like they want to play Widow, and Chime on the Hanzo, at least for the time being. Are they going to try anything spicy, or is it just going to be kind of more of a default Circuit Royale kind of feel? Looks like it is going to just be Haven sticking on Widow, Chime on the Mei, okay. And Lucio for Grapes, so a hybrid kind of comp here for FluffyDreamland.
It's been a consistent theme throughout this series of like Grapes being on the Lucio, and the way Grapes plays the Lucio is they're not really playing with Asteroid, they're kind of playing this move the Mei around. So the Lucio and the Mei are working, they're working in tandem to really just sort of like move the Mei around and put pressure on the rest of the team. As you said though, the long sidelines and the fact that Citrus Nightmare are going to be able to play very defensive, like if you're the Mei and you're Chime, how do you deal with the Zenyatta and the Widow in this corner?
I think the Lamp too. Ooh, what a shot by Haven. Chronic didn't even see it, most of it.
Did lose Astro though on the other side, so it's going to be difficult, but Chime gets neutral as well. There is a world in which they can turn this into a 4v3 advantage even without their tank.
Can. If Haven gets another shot off, it just might be over. Getting a nice angle. There he goes. Chime once again. Dude, he's on the Mei. And look how far they have to push too. It's very much just on that last point. And the Mei's going to get very strong if they want to hold forward. And it looks like they're going to try and do it too.
Something that we haven't talked about right now so far is that... Oh, later, Chime. As Chime gets a little ambitious on that one, Chime's walls have been really solid against Zeb. Isolating Zeb from the rest of the team, really giving the opportunity to split off the roster from each other. And that really cuts down on the long sidelines that we talked about that are so common on Circuit Royale. As Haven's just a couple of body shots, takes down Tap, and they're still moving.
Where's the damage? I've got no damage. Oh, double headshot through the bushes too. I don't need to pay a gardener anymore. Nice try for the flick shot there onto neutral, but they got all the space that they really want. So, I mean, that isn't a great... Okay, yeah. Eventually punished. I was going to say, Haven just kind of grappling with that tree. There's no way he doesn't get shot at that point.
That's a bit of respite that they needed. Oh, they take the space, but now Chronic's the one getting hyper-aggressive. Will live to tell.
Flux, Blizzard. Oh, they're throwing everything into this one. Blizzard not many catching anybody. Astro ends up going down, so that's Citrus Nightmare winning this one off the back of that Flux. Chime, get out of there.
The Chime's a menace on this Mei. I really love the way that they're playing a lot of these flanks. Just everywhere all at once, it feels like. And now FluffyDreamland's coming up to a lot of ultimates. They got the Flux of their own. They're going to have a sound barrier. The issue they're going to have to deal with is the Transcendence from neutral. They need to try and find a way to bait that out. Otherwise, the Flux isn't going to do anything.
This tap duplication could also go pretty nuclear. Flux lands, Lamp deployed, Copy coming through. They got a Mei of their own now. Tap's like, if you can do it, I can do it better. We'll see if they get a Blizzard. Should be pretty easy. I mean, you've got 50% already. Another couple of Icicles will do it. They're not actually giving Tap the opportunity whatsoever. Okay, there's the Blizzard thrown out. Well, they do catch one, but I mean, wow. Astro's in such an awkward position. They can't actually just run him over, sadly.
And now, oh, good wall. That's what I was talking about. Window goes down behind it from Jacob. That's going to be so much damage.
Sound barrier too. Wow, Grapes with an egregiously aggressive peek there.
Oh.
They do end up trading. Shine once again coming up with a kill. A little icicle across the map does end up killing Jacob. However, I mean, still, they can't push for that tank at all. There's no space creation unless a Blizzard comes online. But that's only 20% away.
And also, like, how do you find value with this, you know, especially against the Transcendence that's going to be forever held? Oh, okay, Transcendence is out. That's a huge win here for FluffyDreamland. If they can back up, wait for their tank to come back, all of a sudden, this is the window that they've been looking for.
Yeah, I mean, what they got to deal with it? Maybe this Flux coming online. But look at Chime, he's got a Blizzard coming up. He's got 1%. Just don't get an Eaten challenge. Throws it on the ground, Zeb down. That's going to be it. FluffyDreamland can push this payload home. No way for a Citrus Nightmare can actually touch, I don't think, without getting frozen up. And Chime, oh, what am I witnessing right now? A Mei on circuit, making it work. FluffyDreamland coming up with a W on Circuit Royale.
Honestly, huge play here from Chime. I really like it. Unconventional. You know, obviously, Mei isn't the craziest thing to see, but the way that they just manipulated the rest of the map and sort of made themselves a threat. The wall's on point, hitting the damage. You love to see it, something different other than the double sniper. And, you know, once again, FluffyDreamland not allowing Citrus Nightmare to play their game.
Control once again, proving it's a fraudulent game mode. Look at that. Look at that.
This continuously happens, Jaws. You know, it's
crazy. It's crazy. Control, I don't know. Me and Control need some words. All right, we're going to the next map, Citrus Nightmare. Okay. It's like, how do we deal with this Mei? How do we deal with the Mei? Because we have Chronic clicking heads, and that is great. But this Mei is actually proving quite a troublesome affair, even on a map where Widow just dominates most of the time, like 99 times out of 100. Flashpoint and push coming up, Scott. So where are we going?
Interesting. That is. I wonder if we're going to see them go towards just push, because, you know, Flashpoint can be a weird mode, but also I feel like Mei is just really good on Flashpoint. There's a lot of ways that you can play around it. I think Grapes is going to be able to play the Lucio. I think that's where Grapes has wanted to be playing. So, personally, if I'm Citrus Nightmare, I'm staying away from Flashpoint, but at the end of the day, you're down 2-1. You're going to have to win on either of these game modes anyway, so pick your poison.
Push. Oh, that was a nice shot.
Beautiful shot.
Classic Widow, just 180. Look at the ground to get out of there. Don't want to get headshot yourself by whatever else could be thrown at you. I mean, I think that wall. Maybe just because I want to see it. Yeah, there's a little Chime highlight reel for you. Runaasapi.
Well, yeah, I do like Runaasapi a lot. I think it's a very interesting map. I think it plays very differently to the other ones. Honestly, it feels like it plays very similar to Esperanza from my experience, rather than, you know, Colosseo, which we just saw, which feels like you're fighting in the same areas and going back and forth. Same thing I think happens a lot on New Queen Street, where it doesn't feel like there's as much push and pull, just because of how tight those corridors can be. So I'd love to see Runaasapi. Any new map, any new strategies, it'd be cool to see.
Any new $80,000 beats? Yeah, I'd love to see it. Welcome back. Citrus Nightmare versus FluffyDreamland. And Scott, we're going to it.
Runaasapi,
baby. Let's go. No more $80,000 beats, though. Hopefully. Yeah, this was Citrus Nightmare's pick. As we just saw, if you've only just joined us at the very end of the day, that's fine. Circuit Royale was quite fun, quite interesting. Chime made it very interesting, playing the Mei, and kind of ran over Citrus Nation. Citrus Nightmare, sorry, didn't really have a chance against it. It felt like, to be honest, even the Widowmakers, which, you know, Mei versus Widow on Circuit Royale. Normally you give it to the Widowmaker, but Chime making it work. Will they make it work this map? Not sure, but it will mean at least Chronic can play a long-range hit scan. There's a lot of long straightaways on this map.
Yeah, 100%. This is a very unsolved map, so if you're going to throw anything at the wall, now's the time. And, you know, as you said, Jack, I really like the Chime Mei. I think you keep going with it. The question that I have is, can you keep Chronic alive? You know, where we've seen the tweets recently of the PGE 22 deaths. It feels like Chronic is going through the same torture chamber right now, where it's like, all they need to do is stay alive, and it feels like the team needs to find a way to build around that, because right now, if your Ashe and your hit scan isn't able to do damage, it just feels like you fall incredibly flat with your composition.
Yeah, maybe it is the Sombra. Maybe that is the secret sauce. He cracked it live on stream. No way. The secret, the Da Vinci Code has been solved. We just play Sombra into the Diva and hope that the rest of our bullets don't get in. Do you think we're going to see the same kind of tanks here? Do you think we're going to go to Sigma? Because we've seen an Orisa look at the start of the series. I mean, this map, like you said, a little bit more unsolved than most, being the newest map, and the newest mode, to be fair as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, I've given up on trying to predict FluffyDreamland. I said, I was like, playing the Orisa. I wasn't a fan of that, but, you know, here we are. Playing the Mei on Circuit Royale. Seems questionable, but here we are. You know, honestly, just do whatever makes you happy and makes you feel like you're going to win, right? That's the thing that you need to recognize. Playing to your own strengths is what you need to find. So if Chime's a Mei legend, then I think they need to stick to that. And if you're Citrus Nightmare, just stick to what's working. Find what you did in the first map, and maybe that is going back to the Orisa on Zep.
Yeah. Hey, I'm down. We said at the start before the show started, Scott, we're down to Clown. And that's
Always.
Exactly what we're doing. Clowning around right now. Oh, I'd love to see the Venture too, actually.
Venture makes a lot of sense. You can play Venture very similarly to the way that they were playing Mei on Circuit Royale, but actually Chime's going to think better of it going over to the Tracer.
Love try. But yeah, okay, Orisa into the Ram. Both got Lucio on either side, so pretty speedy comps. Haven versus Chronic on the Ashe, and then just the BAP and the Kiriko obviously on either side. A little bit difference there. See how the Orisa matches up, because yeah, definitely not the strongest tank right now. It was pretty an immovable object before, but with D.Va being so strong, Orisa's kind of just sat by the wayside. A little bit more oppressive on the D.Va, especially if you're going quick, but we'll see if Zeb can make it work again for Citrus Nightmare.
You can see FluffyDreamland get the original, like, skirmish on the Mega, but then Tap just, like, takes the bot and starts the cart moving, so that's going to force a response for FluffyDreamland. They do end up taking it over, but just look how much damage it feels like Zeb is soaking at all times.
Yeah, you're a big old battery, right? A lot of the time. Orisa's head is so large, too. Oh, Jacob falling to Astro. So, yeah, Zeb just kind of playing ring around the rosy, like you mentioned before. But FluffyDreamland a lot quicker to chase down Jacob. And now without speed, yeah, Chronic has nowhere to go.
22 meters, though, is nothing to scoff at, right? That's going to be Citrus Nightmare getting a little bit of something. And Tap is still stalling this point. It's an interesting little cut through the middle of that point. That's like the two lanes in which you initially push are so close together. This opening fight is very interesting. Almost, dare I say, like the opposite of the way that Colosseo plays, where it doesn't really have any neutral, like everyone is stuck. The bot is always moving in one way or the other.
Yeah, it very much feels like that. Zeb just hiding behind this bar. It's pretty close to this Terror Surge, actually. Only 20% away. Just using every cooldown possible to try and stay alive. But look at Chime. He's basically in the backline right now. Pulse bomb in hand. Takes that lift. That rush from neutral is getting the job done. Protra dead should mean now, if Citrus Nightmare can make this clean, which unfortunately is not going to be, as Chronic has also fallen, and Haven in the back too. I mean, Chime and Haven just wrapped completely around Citrus Nightmare, put him under the Christmas tree. Neutral Jacob dead, supports down for Citrus Nightmare. Tap struggling to keep himself alive. The same with Zed.
And all of a sudden, we're at a little bit of a standstill as they've just been trading blow for blow, but eventually it's going to be Citrus Nightmare, the team that's going to blink first, stepping away, but we really haven't seen a decisive beginning or end to these fights. It's just a never-ending back and forth. Yeah.
Welcome to Push, everybody. I wonder what the new game mode's going to be like. Big questions.
Yeah, that would be a good question.
Uh-oh. Well, sound barrier should be good. Control look like they actually got out of that too. Chronic in the back line's got the bob, same with Haven. Probably going to wait for the bob to come out. Yeah, reposition, get away from the firing Omnic. But Zeb ends up falling. Okay, you got to make this clean somehow. I didn't even know you could go behind that giant little statue over there.
Yeah, that's a first.
That's a first for me.
Gonna see bleeding out just a little bit, but finally, FluffyDreamland are going to close out a fight and start getting a little bit more meterage and take the lead here on Runaasapi. And all of a sudden, it feels like Citrus Nightmare, they're throwing this Orisa at the wall, but I don't know. I really like the Ramatra more. It feels like Astro is able to withstand it. The ultimate's a lot better. You saw Zeb walk up with the Terror Surge, but it just doesn't offer enough to the team fight.
Zeb acting like a tracer at this point. Oh, nice. What a pulse. A little alley-up. Chronic Haven down. Chime still with a recall too, so can play fairly aggressive on this tracer. Focusing out Zeb has just been the key, at least for Astro. But these fights are just so scrappy, Scott. Something quite poetic as well. Dreamland versus Nightmare, I would say. I've made that joke yet. 41 meters to 23 is once again we don't really get anywhere near those checkpoints. Colosseo a little bit earlier on, Scott. Like no one got checkpoint that entire time. It was just a battle for mid.
Yeah. But that's very Colosseo. I feel like the checkpoints are a lot easier to get here on Runaasapi. But we'll see both teams starting to step up. Neutral has another Kitsune Rush. It's going to be very difficult for FluffyDreamland to step up into this. As soon as they step forward, Neutral's going to drop this rush.
That bomb too can be pretty devastating if you find the right target. Ooh, they ping the tracer out. Yeah, force that recall pretty early. Pulse bomb goes wide. Evan dodging out of the way, and that one pretty quickly. As I like the disengage down the vortex, and yeah, the big disengage is not going to yield FluffyDreamland with all too much apart from a little bit of space here, but they still have the lead, most importantly. As the Kitsune Rush has been popped too. I mean, Chime's not going to last too long in this backline, has to hit that recall. Yeah, Protra also falling. I mean, the Rush is just such a good ultimate at winning these neutral fights really quickly.
I will say as well, I feel like, yeah, I was about to say, I think Proto needs to switch off this Baptiste. That's the second or third time I've seen them be run down just by the Orisa. Maybe that's why Zeb is on this Orisa. Just walks at the Baptiste, and there's nothing they can do to really deal with that threat. So, Proto going over to the Kiriko just for the little bit more self-sustainability. Chime's going to fall early here, and checkpoint got by Citrus Nightmare, and they're going to get more meterage on the board as well.
Yeah. Completely flipped on its head at this point. Okay, Jacob has sound barrier. They're in a really good spot here to push it past this checkpoint. They've got Bob coming up. They can put Chronic on the back line. The chasm of space here that you have to kind of cross to get to Chronic at this point is going to be pretty nasty.
Now, pushing and pulling. We're going to see FluffyDreamland take the space. Moving forward, and Citrus Nightmare just going to be more than happy to take a step back. Maybe not wanting to fight out in the open. Well, but Chime has been so clutch for FluffyDreamland. They really need him to step up once again, hit a big pulse bomb. It's just so hard against the Suzu that's just waiting in the wings.
Chime moving. Oh, they spotted.
Oh, my shot.
Shot by Chronic. That pulse bomb went out, but before his body hit the floor, my God. Chronic is so clean. Takes another kill from Grapes, and well, here you go. Here is the lead extending for Citrus Nightmare. They want to go to this map number 5. 3 minutes to go, too. 70+ meters. Here's a small little replay as well from Chronic's POV. Bang, bang.
Oh, nasty.
That is so clean.
Yeah, and you can see Chime, I think, lost the pulse bomb in this situation as well. So now, once again, FluffyDreamland stepping up. Citrus Nightmare giving the space, letting FluffyDreamland push into their engagement. And you can see that now they're stuck in the open. Look at how in the open Haven has to be right now. Can't even really find angles.
In this meta, too, I did not expect to see an Orisa versus Orisa, to be honest.
No, that's a first.
But, hey, if it's working, it's working. No more Ram, Orisa for Astra, of course, and the rush available from both sides. But Citrus Nightmare just not doing much right now, and they don't have to. Like, you're chilling. You wait for FluffyDreamland to try and go for an engage. You back up, maybe sound barrier, back up, rush, like, try and catch people off guard. Like, they're more than happy just kind of dodging in and out here. Although
I think it's Tap.
Yeah, Tapper, Death, and same with Chronic. That's a very good start. Rush expended from both sides too, so that's actually doubly good for FluffyDreamland right now. Don't want to use any more ults. They know they can get a quick and clean team fight. Well, not necessarily quick. Orisa still pretty painful to take down, but there you go. Bot in control. They're going to stop those forward spawns too. Zeb and Neutral, I think, yeah, getting back spawns now.
Fortunately for them, Neutral can TP back into the fight pretty quickly, but this might be the checkpoint received from FluffyDreamland. 2 minutes remaining. This could be anyone's fight. All of a sudden, Citrus Nightmare, they have a lot of ultimates in their bag, but none of them are highly impactful. If Tap's Pulse One goes wide, we know the Terror Surge can be difficult. Where is that Bob going?
Well, got booped into the room a little bit more. Yeah, Astro is in the back line. Pulse Bomb onto Zeb, though. That's the perfect pick, and now they can push on. The even big round ended up working out, and even a kill onto Jacob too. There is the checkpoint. FluffyDreamland want to end this here. 1 minute and 30 seconds to go with a lead in their sight, only 30 meters away.
Most importantly, the Citrus Nightmare players staggered themselves, so it wasn't just like they lost that fight. All of a sudden, they lose the fight, they lose the checkpoint, and now more and more meterage is being taken. One fight for FluffyDreamland, and they can take the lead in this map.
And they say beat as well. They go beat for beat, ban for ban, Orisa ult for Orisa ult, Terror Surge.
Oh, Pulse.
There's no way. What a coach going away from Haven there, narrowly avoiding that Pulse Bomb, which should end up pancaking on the floor, but Chronic dead. I mean, this is going from bad to worse for Citrus Nightmare right now. Someone needs to wake them up real quick. Terror Surge in the backline might be in order, but I mean, both Orisas, someone's going to take off pretty soon. Oh, and it's going to be Zed all the way to spawn. 78 meters and 45 seconds. Haven just staying alive in this backline. And just whoever blinked first there at the very end, and there is the lead. FluffyDreamland taking it in the final few moments. Citrus Nightmare with only a rush in the bank to try and see themselves through to another map.
Oh my, both teams having the Kitsune rush from bad to worse for Citrus Nightmare, and now they're gonna have to make a heroic push all the way across. You can see FluffyDreamland more than willing to concede a little bit of space so that they're not walking into a high ground, but this is where they're gonna take their final stand.
Nice little dynamite damage too. Chronic's got a Bob advantage. Chime in the high ground. He's got a pulse in 1 second. All he needs to do is just exist. Pulse bomb in hand now. This could be the difference maker as Zeb pushes forward with the Bob. Astro down. Okay, quick reset here from FluffyDreamland. No ultimates need to be expended. They know they've at least got the Bob out of Citrus Nightmare as OT now in session. 99 meters to 85, but they got so many meters to actually cover to even start pushing that barricade.
How many forward spawns are going to happen? Oh, I think Haven might have just lost that, same with Proto and Chime, so this might be just the final fight to end it all. FluffyDreamland does have a lot of ultimates. They have their Bob of their own. You just saw how much damage Chronic's Bob did. If you can put it in the open here, it's so difficult to hide from.
Slowly but surely, they got a Bob of their own too. They're just going to stack ultimates here, just throw them all in one fight. Maybe Tap's Pulse Bomb is something that they need. A very early rush, Scott. Coming through from Citrus Nightmare. They're in a really bad spot too. They're kind of playing on this staircase. That dynamite damage in the Bob is just covering them completely. They need to be able to step up here, but they haven't got the angles to actually work with. Tap ends up going down, traded for Haven. The Flames keeping everybody alive on the point, and has even earned himself a beat. Beat comes in. Jacob needs to land this one. He gets spooked up, but no, still manages to connect with the ground. Haven and Tap obviously trading here, so it being a 4-on-4, someone needs to find a pick. FluffyDreamland recoiling slightly, knowing that they've got spawn advantage with only 9 meters to go. Citrus Nightmare can't afford to overstep. Jacob falling, no more speed boost or AoE heals. It's going to be a nightmare for Zeb to keep himself alive in the front line. He may have the Terror Surge, but there's nothing left. Oh, Astro's just going to dump right on top of him as well. A nice little kill from Zeb, but Haven's already back on the Soldier, and there it is. Dreams really do come true. A 3-1 victory for FluffyDreamland as Citrus Nightmare end up going down.
Wow, that was just by a hair. There were so many little things that happened to that fight that pushed that fight back and forth. These two teams so evenly matched at the very end there in an Orisa matchup of all things, but FluffyDreamland taking the cake at the very end, and Citrus Nightmare gonna have to fight their way back.
That was ridiculous.
Crazy.
That was awesome. That was a great series, though. Like, they really kind of had each other's numbers. I loved the adaptations from both sides. I mean, Citrus Nation, they started off really strong, but then the adaptations we saw, and also the more, you know, unconventional picks, like they throwing those Orisas in with Zeb, it's like, okay, it's Zeb, so, like, it makes sense, but also it doesn't make sense given the current meta. But then, you know, we see the Mei coming in from the other side, and it shouldn't work, but they make it work. As you marveled, they made it work against a Widowmaker of all things, also, which just that shouldn't even happen. Like, yeah, so it was a very, very interesting series. So let's take a look at some of the highlights from that series and revisit what has been going down as we made it all the way to map number 4, nearly even heading into map number 5. That one came down to the wire.
It was so close. This obviously being the only map that Citrus Nightmare managed to take, and it was off the back of Zeb's Orisa play too, especially on Village. Like, being able to back up and like almost bait FluffyDreamland in with the Ram, it worked out so well for them, but it slowly kind of snowballed out of control as we headed later in the series. But yeah, what a format banger after another format banger. Like, yeah, sign me up. Week 1 coming through for the OWCS. Like, yeah, we're back. We're so back.
You love to see it. You love to see it. And honestly, there was just a lot of individual plays that popped off. Chronic was really good. In the situations that Chronic was able to find a little bit of space, it was really good. But, you know, Chime stepping up in a big way, playing this Mei. On the Tracer as well, on the final map, there was just so many decisions that went back and forth. You know, the meta, we talk about, hey, like, D.Va's incredibly strong. I don't even remember how much D.Va we saw in this entire series as well. Like, both of these teams just willing to just sort of stick to their guns, play with what works, and if that ends up being Orisa, it ends up being Orisa. So, I love to see it. I really like seeing these teams sort of reform and come together and create these, like, awesome series that, you know, really could have gone either way, and I hope that we get to see both of these teams against some of the other teams at the top of NA.
Yeah, FluffyDreamland are like the team to watch out for me right now. They are pretty fun to watch, I'll be real. And the flexibility, it goes crazy, and being in I wouldn't say like a tough group, obviously this being probably one of more tougher oppositions in the set, but against Toronto, yeah, Toronto definitely kind of the kings of North America at the moment, but I mean, you know, they got some gumption. I want to see them up against someone like a TSM.
They really do have some gumption. I mean, if you're on this map now, Runaasapi, right, and then the opposition makes the Orisa work, and you're already behind, and yet you decide to switch over to the Orisa yourself. Is that a calculated risk? Is that just crazy? Like, what were they thinking, Scott?
You know, sometimes you're in the situation where you're like, well, this doesn't make any sense, but we're just going to full send. Like PG with the Sombra. This doesn't make any sense. I'm going Sombra, right? You're just going to like full send. It's Orisa. People know how to play Orisa. But for me, the big thing that really came in clutch throughout this entire series was Chime, right? We saw it really coming alive on Paraiso on this Echo, getting multi-kills, pairing with Astro with some phenomenal dives. But this is the Mei that we all really were excited by, right? Just coming out of nowhere, just playing Mei, playing what you're comfortable with, and just, you know, just finding a new way to deal with the problem of Chronic and that they were throwing at you. But so many different heroes played. Tracer got up some big pulse bombs, went toe-to-toe with Tap, which is no easy task. So, you know, big props to Chime, really helping FluffyDreamland get over the edge.
Yeah, I think Chime... the flexibility, obviously crazy. Dude, those pulse bombs, when you get stuck by them, it feels so bad. It's like the Tracer was so far away, man. How did that connect? You're like... kind of kicking yourself, and that was the target you need to take down too. Chronic has been the main like enemy number one, public enemy number one for FluffyDreamland. So you know, landing pulses like that, just so sick. I'm excited to see this team more, honestly.
Same, absolutely same. I'm also excited to talk to one of their members. I believe we have Astro joining us for a quick chat now. No, not yet. Good things have to wait, but we can take a look at brackets first. How about that?
I wanted the bracket first.
I love
honestly.
brackets.
Yeah,
I think the bracket will really set the stage for an interview way better anyway. So that's what we're doing. FluffyDreamland taking that 3-1 victory. Don't let the score fool you though. Like those were some very, very close maps and matches. I am excited.
Yeah, I think the Vice Shikigami one will be interesting. I would probably have Shikigami over Vice, and then Vice Citrus Nightmare, because FluffyDreamland went to 5 versus Shikigami yesterday, so you know that could be a Citrus Nightmare like re-entering that same Nightmare, as long as they don't go up against a Mei, I suppose.
And then you can see here we have the standing. So all the teams that are in first, you know, we had NRG, Toronto, and FluffyDreamland. They've progressed through into the out of the group stages, sorry, into the final bracket. But some of these other teams still fighting. You know, they're still alive. TSM, Citrus Nightmare. They still have a chance to make their way out of these groups.
Very much, and there's still a lot of teams we don't really know that much about, so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. We have one more day, of course, tomorrow. For now, though, we're heading into the interview that has been promised. So let's welcome Astro to the show from FluffyDreamland. Astro, how are you doing? Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'm feeling really excited about that win.
It was a very exciting match to watch. I think one of the things obviously standing out were a few more unconventional looks, if we want to call them that. Of course, that started on the side from your opponents with that Orisa. You also switched onto Orisa then in response. We also saw the Mei coming out from you guys. How many of these hero picks were something that you've practiced, and how much of that was just reactionary, kind of throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks?
Yeah, so we've been playing a lot of Ramatra, and as time has gone on, we've kind of realized it's not as strong as we think it is. So we've kind of had to just like lean into our strengths more, especially when we don't really know how to play these comps the newer teams are playing. And I also do think Orisa is really sleeper broken. I think she's really strong. So we've been kind of like doing a little bit of freestyling, but mostly just leaning into our strengths as well, like Chime on the Mei, so that even though we're kind of freestyling it, we're also comfortable as well.
Sleeper broken. Okay, I'll put a pin in that. I'm curious if we're going to see a little bit more. I do want to ask you, is there any team in this group or one of the other groups that you really want to beat as a squad?
Not particularly. I kind of want to beat them all. But
okay, yeah.
That's the spirit.
Yeah.
Including Toronto Defiant. Are you hoping for the Toronto Defiant matchup in your first round now that you're out of the group?
No. It'd be a good learning experience if we play versus them, and they have players that I like. I'm good friends with Vegas, so it'd be a fun match for sure. Yeah. Yeah,
and I want to ask one more thing. Like, how long have you and like a lot of these guys been playing together? Because like one of the big things that I was really impressed by was your dives with Chime. Like, you guys were really in sync. You were hitting a lot of things. That's really what like stood out in Paraiso. How did you get that synergy going? And is that something that like we should expect from you guys moving forward?
Yeah, so me and Chime have been playing together for a really long time. It's been like, I want to say a year and a half now. So yeah, we've been teammates for a while, and I kind of had synergy with all these guys. I played with Haven in Overwatch 1 on my old team Bear Claw, so that was a lot of fun being able to pick him up for this tournament. And I've played other tournaments with Grapes and Protest, so I mean, I know all these guys, but I've been definitely playing with Chime the longest, so that's probably why we're able to do what we do.
Yeah, I guess the pre-existing synergy was definitely showing. One more question before I let you go. Are you moving in or out of your place?
I moved in. So actually, the first day I got here was Tuesday, and that kind of screwed me over because that was the delayed Swiss day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to set up my setup like 5 minutes before my warm-up. It was really, really scuffed, but we made it work. And
stressful.
Yeah.
Well, happy moving in there. Congratulations. No, I like it. It's avant-garde. I don't even know what that means, but we'll go with that word anyway. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. It was super, super exciting to watch you guys play. We can't wait to see more from you and the squad. And have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. It was great. It was great. Thank you.